Support for your fantastic mind, provided by Southern Company Foundation.
Welcome to Your Fantastic Mind. I'm Jay Watson. In neighborhoods across the country, people often suffer in silence with depression, the most common mental health disorder and one that is on the rise during the COVID-19 global pandemic. The National Institutes of Mental Health estimates that over 17 million adults in the United States have had at least one major depressive episode, which can severely interfere with someone's life, from their ability to do their job to even function. For most people, depression can be effectively treated with therapy and medication. But then there are those people who, despite having tried all available treatments, continue to suffer with this illness. At its most severe, depression can lead to suicidal thoughts and actions. But there is a potential treatment under study that can have life-changing results. Only a handful of people in the world have ever had it done. And this week, you're going to follow a young man named Tyler Hajar as he fights to save his own life.
Kisses allowed. Kisses welcome.
Tyler Hajar and his family have been up since the middle of the night.
We'll be sending
checking
updates during the day.
Great.
We're doing this, we're doing that.
Yeah.
It's a long day.
A 12-hour day stretches before them.
All right, how are you? I'm as ready as I'm going to be.
You've got wonderful, beautiful veins. I don't see a problem.
At 28 years old, Tyler's 10-year journey to this morning, February 4th, 2019, has been one he wasn't sure he would live to see.
I'm famous.
That's right. We're famous. Soon to be, soon to be.
You're young, you've been sick for a very long time.
It's just brain surgery.
Yeah.
Same it.
It's like going again.
I'm fighting kind of inside. When I wake up every day, I sit there and I go, why can't you just get up, get up, get up? I pray to God sometimes to the point where I'm in tears. Just get up, just get up, just get up.
Thank you for all our blessings.
We meet Tyler for the first time 3 days before surgery.
Amen. Right now I feel grateful. 2 weeks ago I wanted to die.
4 months ago, he was hospitalized for being suicidal.
I was going to take my car onto the highway, unbuckle my seatbelt, and crash into the sidewall, going as fast as I could.
Tyler has thought of killing himself almost every day for 10 years. The unexplainable darkness descended before his senior year of high school.
The halfway point of senior year is when I tried to kill myself and was hospitalized.
Tyler was the mayor everywhere he went. We just want Ty to be happy.
Kim and Pete Hajar didn't see it coming.
Everyone loved Ty. Happy, never a problem, kind. And then it stopped. Praying to God when you walk in at night or walking in the morning to wake him up that, he's not done something, and I will do anything for my son. He didn't choose this. He didn't ask for it.
You asked me earlier what I did today.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I did? Sat in bed.
It's okay. He's got the IV started.
Yeah.
And so began the journey to find a treatment that worked for Tyler's depression.
I like to joke and tell people that I've been on every medication from Abilify to Zoloft, A to Z.
Do you want ice for your water?
Oh no, I'm good.
A few treatments worked, but he would always relapse.
I've tried electric shock therapy, or ECT, electroconvulsive therapy. Ketamine treatments, infusions, which only made me feel good for maybe that day. transmagnetic stimulation. They fire magnets into each side of on this side of the skull. I felt nothing from those.
Friends fell away and moved on with life. Tyler was institutionalized 6 times for being suicidal. The years ticked by, and Tyler's world shrank to his bedroom.
It feels like I'm weighed down. That every action takes 150% of my energy. You know, I'd almost compare depression not to a virus, but to a parasite, because it sucks so much out of you. And it doesn't let light in. It's got a permanent curtain over everything. And it's just hell. That's the best way I can describe it. It's hell. I see the hell I put my family through each day. If I wasn't here, they wouldn't have to go through that hell. And usually a little voice would remind me of that I'd introduce them to another hell, a hell that no family should see.
When he talks about suicide, you know, it really saddens me just because I love him so much. And for me, that would be like an even bigger turmoil than like right now. Like, I'd rather have him like this than him gone.
And again, the most important thing for you today.
We met Tyler about 4 years ago. He came after he had failed multiple treatments.
Dr. Patricio Riva-Pose is a psychiatrist at Emory Brain Health's treatment-resistant depression clinic.
We offered him inclusion in this experimental study. Patient selection is extremely difficult. It's not easy to convince people of having a brain surgery for an illness that is thought many times to be, you know, weakness of the character.
I want you to relax the best you can.
It's a massive commitment for the patient. Surgery is expensive and not covered by insurance because it's experimental. Patients are seen weekly for 7 to 8 months after surgery. But Tyler, who had lost a decade of his life to this disease, felt he was at his end, out of options, out of hope.
I'm scared. I'm not afraid of the procedure. Not afraid of something going wrong in the operating room or anything of those sorts. I'm afraid it's not going to work.
When you kind of think about the heaviness, is there a physical barrier? I mean, I know that's weird because there's obviously not a barrier, but does it feel like a force field?
Dr. Helen Mayberg is a pioneer in using deep brain stimulation for depression.
Helen is a crossover sort of individual.
I'm just gonna...
A crossover because Mayberg is a trained neurologist who made depression her life's work.
I'm pumped.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll see you in there.
She has spent more than 3 decades using neuroimaging to map brain circuits involved in severe depression.
The basis of deep brain stimulation for depression were inspired by the effects of deep brain stimulation for movement disorders and illnesses like Parkinson's or essential tremor.
The same procedure that can calm tremors in someone with Parkinson's disease is what Mayberg used to pioneer for those with intractable depression. Her groundbreaking research conducted at Emory led to the first trial of DBS in 2005 in the subcolossal cingulate area of the brain known as Brodmann Area 25. Mayberg identified this brain region as important in its ability to govern brain circuitry in the frontal lobes and deep parts of the brain, including the amygdala, hippocampus, basal ganglia, and brainstem. Together, these areas regulate emotion, motivation, memory, self-reflection, sleep, and other basic drives, all of which can be disrupted in depressed patients.
All right, how are you?
Emory neurosurgeon Dr. Robert Gross is a longtime collaborator of Mayberg's.
We use electrodes that we use for other procedures, like for Parkinson's disease, that are inserted into the brain, one electrode on each side, connected to a pacemaker. And it provides electrical impulses in our cases in an area called the subgenual cingulate region, an area in the bottom of the frontal lobe that's been associated for many years with mood disorders. So we introduce electrical impulses into that region, and what we know is that somehow unlocks the patients so that their mood is able to improve, but really have more of a dynamic range.
Some early studies on DBS for depression did not show conclusive data that it worked, but a 2019 study in the American Journal of Psychiatry reports that of 28 people who received DBS for depression, the majority experienced a robust and sustained antidepressant response over an 8-year period.
We've put the implant in, we wake you up, you're wide awake.
Now at Mount Sinai Health System in New York, Mayberg has flown in for Tyler's surgery, the 38th done at Emory in 13 years.
Worried, untroubled.
We'll give that a 3.
Fearful, fearless.
Give it a 4.
Dr. Mayberg runs Tyler through a series of depression ratings questions to get a baseline of how he is this morning.
Elated, quiet, noisy.
These questions will become critically important in the operating room.
Yeah.
Don't overthink it.
Yeah,
Just
no overthinking.
be,
Perfect.
Be here.
Okay. Sounds good.
On 3, you're going to feel a pinch and then a burn in your forehead, okay? And that's the numbing medicine, okay?
Yes, sir.
So why don't you take a deep breath in for me?
Members of the surgical team numb several spots on Tyler's head and then attach a frame that will anchor his head in the operating room so it doesn't move.
This is a device, a metal cage, that will serve to anchor his head on the table so it doesn't move, and it's also what we mount our instruments on, and also what we use to steer our instruments.
It's time.
Love you, buddy.
Love you too, Dad.
You're gonna be fine. This is gonna work.
Tell her family I said I love you. Okay?
We're going to cut through right there. Give you a basic measurement. Right side, lateral plus 0.7, AP plus 33.0, 31.3. We're doing these surgeries through very tiny holes, holes the size of a dime, one on each side. So we can't see where we're going. We only see it on the MRI scan. So we need to be able to match our instruments up to point to a space in this closed skull, in this black box, if you will. We open up the skin, drill those dime-sized holes, and start to put our electrodes into the brain so that we can then both measure the activity as well as stimulate. We test the effects on Tyler clinically as we stimulate the brain. So we need him to be awake for that. And we ask him to rate how he's feeling.
Right there is the cingulum vital, and the forceps minor comes up above it off to the side. So let's go through all of it.
Well, let's just go ahead and start by looking at the anatomy on here versus there. Okay. So even during the CT scan, you can wake him up. Like when we start the CT, you can start waking him up.
Tyler is awake.
Dr. Riva, postface on your right. I'll be on your left, just like this. And all I'm going to want you to do is tell me if you notice anything.
Different contact spots on the 2 leads deep inside Tyler's brain will be activated. The room begins to fill. Only a handful of people have ever witnessed this surgery.
Each lead has 4 contacts per hemisphere. So we always test each contact to see whether patients have a response. The marvel of whatever goes on in the operating room is new with each patient because we never know what will happen.
Before the first contact is turned on, Dr. Mayberg asks the questions.
Before you were talking a lot about feeling heavy. What would work best to rate your heaviness? You know, with 7 being most heavy, is a 1 to 7 scale work?
Yeah.
Worst day, best day? 1 to 7.
4.
Worthless, valuable?
Give it a 5.
How easy would it feel to go out with your dad now and do something like shoot or drive around? Any interest?
No interest. It would be very hard.
Cycle 1.
Just seconds after the first contact is activated,
I felt a little lighter in my shoulders.
Okay.
A little bit clearer in my head. I think I felt a little bit lighter in the back of my head, but...
Did it go away? Is it still there?
Yeah, like a physical, like lighter in the back of my head.
Cycle 2.
A little less tension in my shoulder, and there was a lot when I woke up.
If you think about being home and going out to do something, hard or easy?
I'd say easier.
Cycle 3. Stim on.
cycle 3, the testing of the third contact, does not bring any lightness.
Did it feel like something changed that like went away?
Yeah.
That you'd already had?
Yeah.
That's helpful.
I feel like the signal's lost. I feel a little more anxious.
Okay, rate the anxiety 0 to 7.
Maybe like a 6.
Rate the heaviness 0 to 7.
Maybe a, I don't know, 6, 7, 6.
How's your voice sound to yourself?
I sound scared.
These intense feelings manifest within seconds by activating that precise area in the brain.
Have there been settings that you like better than this?
I felt like 2 was pretty good.
I think you're getting the hold of it.
Okay.
You're doing great.
A few contact test cycles later, and the room is now filled.
Cycle 6, stim on.
A dramatic shift on the 6th contact.
Even before he said the name, I felt lighter. I felt physically lighter. I mean, just all over. Shoulders, neck, head, back. I mean, just everything felt lighter.
Is it a good feeling?
Yeah.
We're on pins and needles. You know, we've done 38 cases, and we haven't always seen that. We still are on pins and needles every time.
How easy would it be to actually get yourself out of bed?
Seems like it'd be a lot easier.
Is it a familiar feeling from when you've previously felt better? Would this be a good day if you woke up feeling like this?
I think it'd be a better day than when I woke up, than when I was feeling good.
So how is your anxiety right now?
I don't feel it.
Okay, rate the heaviness 0 to 7.
Give it a 1.
Okay, rate the anxiety 0 to 7.
Yeah, I call it a 1.
Rate the numbness 0 to 7.
Maybe like a 1.
So if you think about your mom and your dad and, you know, Dr. Riva Pose and Dr. Crowell and, you know, Reed and everybody that you've been working with, how do you feel about it right now compared to before?
Before I was a little scared, a little numb to it, felt kind of mundane, but I was also grateful for the opportunity. Now it's just kind of gratefulness, like a lot of gratefulness.
So feelings feel more real?
Yeah.
So your dad calls and wants to go out and do some shooting. If you weren't bolted in, you ready?
Yeah, for sure.
So with how you're feeling right now, is this the best you've been during our time here?
I'd say so.
Okay, guys. Okay.
They're not done. They're coming back for more.
This is the third one in a row that's on not the side that we expected.
The team goes to the hallway to debrief.
I met him this morning. He just emerged. Never gets old that when it happens, they know it and they don't know it until it happens. Yeah, that was pretty good.
Wow.
That was pretty good. Let's go. Okay, let's go, let's go.
The team returns to the operating room to verify the best contacts.
It's hard for me to...
Tyler has a few more hours to experience the sometimes dramatic ups and downs of contacts being turned on and off. Doctors Gross and Riva Posey find Tyler's family in the waiting room. An entire day has passed.
This is, as good as it can be for the first day.
Thank you.
They catch up to his dad and brother outside the elevator and pass along the news.
Thank you, Doctor.
My pleasure.
It went well.
Okay, I'll see you guys tomorrow. It really is kind of the most exciting part. I'm not a surgeon. I'm not in the operating room all the time. In psychiatry, we are used to seeing change happen slowly and gradually and over time. But this is one of the unique aspects in psychiatry in which you see a change in the moment.
I felt good for the next couple of days, but maybe 2 or 3 days after I was discharged, I started feeling a little bit lower again, and lower, it started kind of cycling down, and yeah, it really hasn't gotten, it's kind of back to where it was pre-surgery.
We are with Tyler 1 month after surgery, a month of healing and waiting to turn on the contacts in his brain that brought him brief relief in that operating room.
They put the leads in, there's some little wires there, and then they had an extension cord. I'm not sure if you guys can see it. It almost looks like an angry vein. Yeah, and then that leads down to a battery pack that's right now being, it's feeding these devices data.
Excellent.
To see how my brain's been acting and changing.
The device will be turned on gradually. Over the next several months, Tyler will see if what happened in the OR will happen in his day-to-day life.
Those are the thoughts that go through my head. I've started to go out a little bit. I'll go to some place where I can just read outside, get some sunshine, which I couldn't have imagined doing prior to this experience.
Are you depressed?
Not at this moment, which again is a miracle to be able to say compared to 10 weeks ago.
There you go, Tyler.
Right on top of you.
The change is significant.
Watch out, guy.
Tyler is not only leaving his room, he is beginning to live again.
Yeah, but you throw it so fast.
You had it.
Hey, Putty, don't be distracted.
I got it.
I'm fooling around and basically just playing games and messing with my sister. Me waiting 10 years to feel a true kind of relief was difficult, and I had so many doubts that it was ever going to come. And now, slowly but surely, I'm starting to see that it is possible, and that's worth the wait. It's like I'm getting more and more moments of joy and happiness and peace, and less moments of depression and anxiety.
Glad you did it?
Absolutely. I would do it 100 times more if that's what it takes.
How long has it been since you've seen him like this?
10 years.
I'm just so grateful because I know there's more to come. I love him so much.
My biggest hope was for him to actually be able to leave his room.
It's night and day, and I didn't realize it was going to be that quick, and I got my brother back.
In an illness often stigmatized, where sufferers are labeled lazy or weak, science has put false labels to rest.
You did perfect. You did better than perfect.
Getting back to Helen's launching point of saying, hey, depression is going to have a neurostructural correlate. It's going to be based on the brain. This is the final proof.
Tyler is now 29 years old. He is in counseling. He drove himself to visit us this day. He has come even further since we spoke to him last May.
I'm well. I'm happily average. I'm very happily just normal, I would say. I wouldn't be here without this procedure. I am convinced I would not be here. I'm grateful that I'm not limited by my depression anymore.
This time, Tyler doesn't have to fear relapse, the return of the heaviness.
With deep brain stimulation, what is unique is that once patients get well, they stay well.
Do you think DBS for depression will one day become like DBS for Parkinson's, for tremors?
Yes. Absolutely. Parkinson's disease now has about 100,000 patients that have received DBS since the dawn of DBS in the early 90s. The prevalence of Parkinson's disease is much lower than the prevalence of patients with depression. And I'm not saying that every patient with depression will need DBS. Maybe 1%, maybe 2%.
Tyler is doing something he didn't do for a decade. He is looking forward, planning, preparing for his life. We want to thank Tyler and his family for allowing us to follow him on his extraordinary journey. And that's going to do it for us this week. We'll see you next time on Your Fantastic Mind.
Support for Your Fantastic Mind, provided by Southern Company Foundation.